Hey yo, what's going on guys? It's Rinne-Hatake here, back with another video, and today we got what if Goku sent to Namek instead of Earth, part 2, and hopefully you guys enjoy this, but without further ado, let's begin. So, as I was saying in the last part, Goku, or Kakarot basically, had fallen in love with Chi-Chi, and so did she, and they started their relationship, and sooner or later they actually got married, and that stuff happened just like normal. But the thing that doesn't happen was the Saiyan saga. So because the Saiyan saga happened a lot earlier, before he even came to Earth, so that's what happened in the Saiyan saga basically. So the next arc after that would be the Namek saga, but it hasn't started just yet. But we still stay on Earth right now, as Goku has found Piccolo and started he basically defeated Piccolo pretty easily, since Piccolo was still around, but he defeated Piccolo pretty easily. But Piccolo did have his reincarnation, but Goku decided to tell Kami not to erase Piccolo, or like seal him away, and just let him change. Let him have some character development so he can actually change. And Kakarot actually made a pretty good call this time, since Piccolo did start to change after the years that he tried to kill Kakarot, but he did start to change though. He did start to change. Apologies for all that stuttering, but he did start to change. And that was a pretty big thing that happened. But besides that, everything else is pretty normal. He still had Gohan, but yeah, he still had Gohan. He still had his kid Gohan, and their Gohan would be just a year younger than he would be, but that's basically the only difference. And Goku, Kakarot basically exposed Gohan to a bit of martial arts here and there, due to his training around Earth basically. Since he travels around Earth, training on Earth, he did increase his power level a little bit, but not by much, since no one on planet Earth can rival him in strength basically. So that's basically that. And Kakarot, he started basically teaching Gohan some basic martial arts so he wouldn't get picked on or bullied. And Kakarot still had his tail. I'm pretty sure I said that. Yeah, he still had his tail, and he knows how to enter the Great Ape form. The Great Ape form. He knows how to enter that form. He knows how to control it to a pretty good degree, but he doesn't like using that form since it makes him a pretty big target, so that's basically that. And Kakarot, he was training on Earth, and all that was basically the same, but on planet Namek, it was pretty different, since Frieza got word of Vegeta, and they found him on this planet called Pt.2, and they basically picked Vegeta up, and Vegeta had some members. He basically got some underlings, basically 3 underlings, but Raditz, he didn't really want anyone to train. Like, he didn't really want to train anyone, and he didn't really want any little underlings, because he thought they'd be weaker than him, and they pretty much are. But during this time, they did train a lot, Raditz and Vegeta, and Raditz actually got the most benefit from this training due to the fact that he's weaker than Vegeta. All the beatdowns that Vegeta gave him actually boosted his power level to be at the power level of 15,000. But since they didn't have any healing machines on them, it did take a while, so they can't just keep beating each other down since they don't have any healing chambers. So he had to basically heal up the normal way of healing, just staying in bed and stuff. That's basically how Raditz trained. If he had the healing chamber, he'd heal much faster and get more Zenkai boost. But they didn't, so he's at power level 15,000. And Vegeta did get some training in and managed to make it to the same power level as Namek Saga Vegeta, basically. Namek Saga Vegeta. He managed to make it to that power level. But that's basically it. And Frieza's men basically found him and Zarbon and Doria came out of the ship asking for them to head back to the Frieza Force, and Vegeta wasn't gonna kill them now, but he was gonna do it later, so he decided to come along, calling in his crew and stuff. So yeah, they went back to the Frieza Force, informing them about the Dragon Balls on planet Namek, and how they tried to recruit Kakarot in. No, they didn't tell them that, but they did tell them that there was like one strong foe on that planet that defeated them and managed to kill Nappa. So yeah, Vegeta was not Vegeta, but well, Frieza was pretty surprised by this, and that took him aback really. Not too hard, but just took him aback. But he didn't really care. It was a monkey, so one less monkey to deal with actually made him feel more relieved. Actually, so he didn't really care much about these guys, so he was fine basically. And he decided to call in his advisors, his like top men in, and told them that they're going to planet Namek to conquer and steal the Dragon Balls basically, and Frieza's gonna wish for immortality. And that's basically that, to basically get immortality. But since they arrived at Namek, one of the Namekians actually escaped and went to the Elder Namekian, and the Elder Namekian sent a distress call out there, and the distress call basically was heard by King Kai. And King Kai informed Kami, basically the god of Earth, Kami, about this, and actually told Kakarot about this, so he brought the Z Fighters with him, and Gohan wanted to come, but Kakarot didn't really want Gohan to come because he didn't know how strong he was, but he reluctantly let him. But Chi-Chi was angry when actually Kakarot brought up this idea of Gohan going to another planet and actually trying to stop some weird aliens. Chi-Chi wasn't having it, but Chi-Chi very, very reluctantly agreed. But she said if Goku or Kakarot didn't bring him back, she'd beat the life out of Kakarot. And Kakarot was pretty scared of Chi-Chi at times when she went angry, so Kakarot knew what he needed to do, so that's that. And Kakarot did bring the space pod, and they actually had Bulma repair his ship since it was a little broken down. They repaired the ship, but since it's a Namekian ship, it didn't have no Saiyan technology. But they improved the ship to be like a Saiyan space pod. Well, Kakarot suggested they should make it a big circle, basically, a big sphere. And Bulma had to change it, and it took like a whole month, whole month to complete. So Namek had, not a whole month, but they did some distracts, no, not a whole month, but it did take a while though, yeah, a whole month, it did take a whole month. And Frieza was having trouble, and Nail was holding off the rest of the Frieza Force, and the Ginyu Force also arrived, and actually we're trying to find where the rest of the power levels were. And Nail was pretty beaten down, and he was actually just evacuating the Namekians, keeping them in a safe area. And they told him to suppress their power levels to the minimum, and they did. Their power levels were so suppressed that the scouters that they were trying to use didn't work. They hit the Dragon Balls too, and the other Namekian basically was struggling to stay alive, and they were all doing their best, basically. They were all doing their best to survive, and most of Namek was wiped out, but the rest, well, they tried to keep it under wraps, basically. Like, they're trying to keep the rest of the Namekians that were still alive to stay hidden and evacuate. And Kakarot finally got a ship to be rebuilt, the Namekian ship to be rebuilt, with some of the Capsule Corp ship, like, basically, some of the Capsule Corp technology, and the gravity training room, so they had that. So they basically flew off to Namek. Took like a week or so. It took like a week, okay? It took a week, since this was the actual fastest Namekian ship that Kakarot got. So it took a week and they did gravity training. And Kakarot wasn't even struggling whatsoever. He can handle like 50 times gravity pretty easily, sort of training with that. But everyone else was struggling with 10 times. And Kakarot had his own like miniature room to train in. That can basically have its own gravity room as well. So everyone on the basically main part of the training area trained at 10 times gravity. But Kakarot trained in his own little mini chamber that Bulma added. And that chamber, well, that's where Goku trained and actually pushed the gravity to times 100 pretty soon. Half the week, basically on the third day of the week, he basically pushed it to 100 times gravity, and that he basically can do 100 times gravity, and his power level would skyrocket from 750,000 to about the power level of 3 million. It's skyrocketed. Think about it. Gravity training is one of the greatest training methods out there in Dragon Ball Z, and it paid off for Kakarot, making it to the measly power level like 10,000 or 9,000 to making it to over 180,000 is insane. And that's just like a month of gravity training. A month of gravity training, alright? Gravity training is where it's at. So, yeah, that's basically that. And Kakarot grew very strong. 3 million, very, very strong. And the rest of the Z fighters did train, and I apologize for the birds that are basically in the background right now. If you can hear them, apologies for that. But they move. So the rest of the Z fighters and Gohan basically managed to increase their power levels. Piccolo was on there too, so they basically trained, and Piccolo managed to make it to the power level of 250,000. And Nail was at that power level too, because I can't really remember what power level I stacked Nail on. But I'm gonna say 250,000, maybe 300,000. But for now, I'm gonna say 250,000. So Nail was at 250,000, Piccolo was at 250,000, the strongest one there. Coming up behind him was Gohan actually, because hybrid potential. Gohan basically made it to the power level of 200,000. The rest of the humans basically at 100,000, but Tien still ahead of them, making it to 120,000. Chiaotzu and the rest basically stayed behind because they didn't want to go and actually fight some demon monster out there, so they stayed at Earth. But they finally arrived after the week of training that they had, and their power levels were insane. The Ginyu Force was alerted due to their high power levels. And Nail sensed Kakarot, and Kakarot sensed Nail, and they already knew where each other was. So Kakarot was split into groups. Gohan and Piccolo will go with him, and the rest of the Z fighters will find Nail, and they sensed out Nail, and they actually head out to find Nail. And Kakarot powered up, increasing his power level to about 750,000 right now. He's staying at 750,000 right now, so Frieza and his men can find them. But right now, the Ginyu Force was sent, and the Ginyu Force told Frieza that they were gonna take down this force that came on planet Namek, since they were still looking for the Dragon Balls. They had a week and a month. They should have been able to find them, but they didn't, since the Namekians have built a secret hiding bunker just for situations like these. Since Kakarot, when he was still in Namek, actually asked them to do this just in case something like this would ever happen. So that's why they're still safe. And the Ginyu Force finally arrived, and the Ginyu Force basically had exchanged blows with Kakarot and basically Piccolo and Gohan, and they clobbered the Ginyu Force, with Captain Ginyu trying to switch bodies with Kakarot, but Kakarot threw a frog at him, and that's basically what he changed into. So that's basically what Kakarot did to Ginyu. Frieza sensed that all the Ginyu Force's power levels were actually at 0. Now he can't sense them anymore, so he decided to head there himself with Zarbon and Dodoria, and Frieza saw the sight of the Ginyu Force. His elite army, basically. His elite soldiers dead on the ground, and he was angry. Frieza was pretty ticked off, and Zarbon and Dodoria said to Frieza, don't worry, my Lord Frieza, or the Emperor Frieza. Don't worry, my lord. We will end them now." As Zarbon transforms and says, "All of you are gonna die now," as he tries to attack, but to no avail. And Vegeta was there too. They was there too, looking for the Dragon Balls, but they didn't find them. But they actually since Kakarot 2, so they were watching the fight. And Vegeta followed the Z Fighters, and Vegeta actually stumbled upon them. And the Z Fighters had to hold off Vegeta. And oh wow, that's a pretty massive power gap. I just realized Namek Saga Vegeta isn't as how strong was Namek Saga Vegeta actually? Was he? I'm pretty sure the humans are much stronger than him right now. I don't know, but he did have some exchanges with Frieza. Did have his healing, so yeah, he's much stronger. Okay, he's much stronger now. He did have his encounter with Frieza and everything like that a few times. So yeah. So he's not weaker than them. He's much stronger than them. He's about the same level as Piccolo. Whew, crushed severity. But still, they did some exchanging blows, fighting, and Piccolo was the only one fighting him while Gohan was watching. And Raditz tried to attack Gohan since he also got a bit of a power-up, making it to 100,000. But Gohan actually wipes the floor with Raditz, kneeing him straight in the gut and blasting him a Senko that basically sent Raditz into a mountain. And Piccolo knees Vegeta straight in the face and uses the special beam cannon that pierces through Vegeta's chest, knocking him unconscious almost to death. And apologies for the background noises again. But Vegeta's men took Vegeta back to the spaceship that had a basically had a healer on it that basically healed Vegeta and Raditz, while Gohan and the rest were still hiding in the cave protecting the Namekians, basically. The Namekians thought of Namekian fusion, but Piccolo said that there is no need, because if they do, the Dragon Balls are... not the Dragon Balls, but the whole population here would just vanish. So they needed to not do that right now. But they actually did decide to fuse. But Nail, he stayed. Basically, the remaining what's it called again? The remaining Namekians all spit out eggs, basically, so they have the kids to basically continue. So they spit out, each Namekian who's staying alive basically spit out 2 eggs each, so that they can continue. Well, they can continue the Namekian race without them being extinguished. So all the Namekians that remained fused with Piccolo, and Piccolo's power skyrocketed straight to 1.5 million. Skyrocketed. But Namekian fusion is pretty strong, so I'm gonna boost it up a little bit, not to 1.5, but to 2.5 million. Piccolo power level, 2.5 million. Nail stayed behind, but he would give Piccolo the biggest boost in power, but he says that he needs to protect these younger generation. And Cargo, well, Dende's older brother, and Dende was still there, so since Dende and Cargo are like very important, since Nail is teaching Cargo to be a warrior, and basically Dende is their healer, and they need someone to heal them, so Dende is the healer, so they're gonna keep Dende there. So that's that. But what they didn't expect was Frieza and Kakarot to start fighting already. Oh wait, what am I talking about? I totally messed up. But I'm gonna say that Gohan and Piccolo were sent away by Goku since they were in a group together, but they were sent away since they felt Vegeta beating down the humans. So they were sent away to deal with them. So that's how they had that fusion going on. But Kakarot was basically dealing with Frieza, and right now Kakarot had the upper hand, but Frieza transformed into a second form. Kakarot still had a bit of the upper hand, but once Frieza transformed into a third form, Kakarot was getting wiped. Kakarot was getting kneed and punched and ki blasted. Kakarot got Death Beam straight through his chest and then blasted into a mountain. And Kakarot was actually getting clobbered. He was gonna die. And Frieza threw a death ball at him, but Piccolo came in and basically grabbed the ball, slapped it back at Frieza somehow, slapping the ball back at Frieza. And Frieza was surprised that a Namekian could actually do this. And Piccolo basically used the solar flare, blinding Frieza, and took Kakarot to Dende, and Dende started healing him. Since Kakarot was near death, he had a big power boost. His power level skyrocketed to 6 million. That was a pretty high power level, but 6 million. Since he got beaten down pretty hard, and through the fight he got blasted with a death beam, and still got clobbered and got sent to a mountain, so he got a pretty big power up. And Kakarot thought this time he was stronger, and he kinda was stronger, but isn't strong enough to take out Frieza. He fought Frieza again. Frieza was still having the upper hand here, since Kakarot didn't have Kaioken, so Frieza was clapping Kakarot with no problem. Since Kakarot didn't actually have Kaioken, he is at a pretty big disadvantage here, since the Kaioken was the only reason he was able to actually keep up with Frieza, but now he doesn't have it. He's not keeping up with Frieza at all. Frieza started fighting him and started clobbering him yet again, and Kakarot, he was frustrated, and Gohan and the rest of the Z Fighters chimed in. Even Vegeta and Raditz came in with new acquired power, and that power wasn't even close to Frieza's at this point. Vegeta's power level at this point would be just under Piccolo at 2 million, while Raditz would be at 1 million due to the beating from Gohan. And Gohan would get his potential awakened, which would boost his power level from 200,000 to about 700,000. But that isn't enough. They all chimed in trying to beat down Frieza, but their power level is not close, and Frieza actually had to turn into his final form. He was a little tired out, but not by much. The power that they sensed from Frieza, 60 million, was insane, and they were all blasted down while Gohan saw his dad getting brutally, mercilessly beaten out there as he gets a bit of a rage boost. The rage boost gives him a power level of 750,000. But that wasn't enough. He is starting to land a few blows on Frieza, but Frieza ultimately basically beats him down, and Gohan was held by the throat by Frieza's tail, and Frieza started pummeling him, and Kakarot saw this, yelling, "Frieza, stop this!" And Frieza began mercilessly beating on Gohan, and then knees Gohan in the gut. Gohan spitting blood, now saying "Ugh!" as Frieza basically raises his whole hand, and blasts Gohan. And it looks like Gohan was basically, destroyed, blasted into oblivion, basically vaporized. But he wasn't. He was just sent flying so fast into a mountain. Where Kakarot didn't see this. He just thought Gohan was gone, and this pushed Kakarot over the edge, and his hair started flickering as he started saying, "Frieza, you monster, I'll never forgive you," as his hair starts flickering from black to yellow as he roars in anger. And his power level is much higher than normal, since in Namek his power level would be at about 150 million in Super Saiyan, since Super Saiyan was a 50 times multiplier. But at his max power level at 6 million right now, times that by 50, well, times it by 10 first, 60 million times 5 would be incredibly... Yeah, that's 300 million, folks. That's twice as stronger, so 300 million. No, I don't think it's 300 million. Who knows, but it's probably 300 million. Since 60 million times each other's 5 times, well, that's a whole different story. That's basically... Wait, that's not even 300 million. Bro, if that is 300 million. Yeah, that is 300 million. So, 300 million, basically. Boom, Super Saiyan 300 million. And since he had a rage boost, giving it another stack of basically a million. Another million stack, basically. So he got another bit of a power up since he had a rage boost. And he starts clobbering Frieza. Frieza enters his full power final form, full power, and yet that does nothing to him. And Frieza was inevitably destroyed by Kakarot's atomic wave, and Kakarot was still blinded by rage. And Piccolo tries to calm him down, but Kakarot just starts picking a fight with Piccolo, and Piccolo basically gets absolutely destroyed by Kakarot, getting multiple beatdowns. And Nail basically tells Kakarot, or yells at Kakarot, saying, "Kakarot, this isn't you! Calm down, Kakarot!" And Kakarot heard Nail's voice, and that got through to him. And Gohan, from his old spot, walking back to the fight, basically yells, "Dad! It's okay! I'm still alive!" as he passes out. Kakarot, hearing this voice, would immediately power down and rush straight towards Gohan and make sure he's alright. And then they heals him. He's Kakarot. Namek is all fine. So basically, that's what happened. And Nail basically says they should move on to a different planet. They summon Purunga and wish for a new planet. And they wished that everything on this Namek to be sent to the new Namek. That basically happened, and they basically wished for more Namekians on this planet, and more Namekians actually came, so that's that. So they're basically on New Namek now, and New Namek's very, very hidden, so they won't find it so easily. But Kakarot said to Nail that it's been a while, and that they haven't seen each other for a long time. And Kakarot filled him in on what's been happening in his life, and basically that kind of stuff. And Kakarot asked if they can use their old planet to be their kind of a training quarters, basically. So they ask if they can speak, basically, in their minds, or if anyone can actually talk to anyone or send a message. And Piccolo is actually able to do that. He begins talking to Kami, and Kami knows what he wants, so he basically gets the Dragon Balls and summons Shenron, telling them that they want Namek to be in Earth's solar system. And Namek suddenly appears out of nowhere. Not in Earth's solar system, basically, in the solar system. And it is in the solar system right now. It's basically right behind Mars by a few 100,000 kilometers, just so they won't collide. But it's basically near Mars, and they actually wish that this place would be pretty hidden. So, no, I'm gonna say it's near Saturn, due to its asteroid field, and they wish that Namek would be pretty hidden. And this Namek would be actually pretty hidden. And the last wish is to be sent back to Earth, and they were. And Goku and all reported what happened and stuff. They basically got their ship too. And they basically decided to make that Namek place their new headquarters, basically. So they basically go to that Namek, and I've been saying basically a lot, but they went to the old Namek and started training on that planet. They basically have a new training place. And Gohan actually likes it because he can study this place with no issues whatsoever. Kakarot and the humans trained on that planet, and also Piccolo does. And all the training that he's been doing here has helped him improve exponentially. Everyone improved exponentially. Kakarot didn't go to Yardra at this time, so he doesn't have instant transmission. But Kakarot did improve, making his Super Saiyan actually become stronger and actually making it able to enter grade 2. So he has grade 2 Super Saiyan much earlier on in canon, so he knows Super Saiyan has evolutions. So right now he's at Super Saiyan grade 2 and has been training a lot, and it's nearing the Android saga basically. But I'll be leaving it off there, so hopefully you guys enjoyed, and make sure to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified whenever I upload a new video. But without further ado, I'll see you guys on the next part. Peace.